Hi, welcome. On this video, I'm going to be doing the food exercise, but this time I'm going to be doing it both without the muzzle and on the leash. So this way you're going to be able to get a better picture as to what needs to happen as it relates to beginning to create relational change with each dog, with both Codden and Koda, and with the dog owner, or with me in this case, fading into the picture. Because the thing about food to understand is that it really does branch off. It comes down to the issues of control. Okay, so when dogs begin to gain control, power in the relationship, what happens is they start to get very much possessive of certain things, and this is where you'll get problems related to food issues. The dog will start to really begin to get really nasty around food if a human comes close, or if a dog comes within the area of food. It could be even treats. Again, I'll talk about that a little bit within the area. They'll get very testy about that because, again, it relates to, it goes into their basic instinct, but it's relational at the same time. It's really important that the owner is in the picture, okay, because it is about control, and the human needs to pivot off different things, including food. But again, once you get into this issue, again, once the dog has control, which is in this case both dogs being here on the board and trained, then you have to start to look at, well, how do I get control back? How do I begin to come back into the picture so that I can actually see a better picture, so that it's going to move from these exercises this way to a point of looking normal again, so I can have both dogs out at the same time feeding, and they're not trying to eat each other's food or eat each other, okay? So at the same time. So, but again, you have to work on again, approaching this at an individual level first. If you go back and watch all my videos going through all this board train process, what it does is it's about sequencing, okay? It's about being very intentional with building the foundation, okay, first, until I get to a point here with this type of exercise where it's starting to really come together very well, okay? But it has to be intentional. So for example, sometimes owners will look at a certain thing that they really don't like. Say if the dogs are very food possessive, they look at that, just that part of the picture, and saying, well, I really want to fix that issue, but they don't understand, well, that's like bad fruit coming off the tree, okay? And the root problem, the root cause is the fact of the owner's not in the right relationship, okay? They're faded out of the picture. So therefore, although this can be a major problem, this can be, more on the elevation side of things. And so definitely you have to, like I'm doing here now, you have to put more time into this so that I fade in properly. But it's not disconnected, okay, from the root problem. Okay, so therefore it's a relational problem. You have to fix the relationship itself, and then you can kind of focus in on this as a specific exercise to begin to line the picture up, so that again, getting to the point where the dogs can be off leash, and then they're fine. Now, getting back to this issue about treats and food, because I know this is a problem in their relationship with how dogs are responding with, say, treats and food are around certain things, is what I would really recommend when you have this level of a problem, that's a trigger, okay? That's something that will really trigger that type of, of elevation, that type of control issues, and then it manifests. It can be a real problem. The dogs are kind of floating around together in a certain area, and you have food out. You have to break this down go down to the basic core problem here. You have to approach this in a very intentional way. You have to separate this down so that it's it's about you fading into the picture, which with each individual dog, but going right to just using this for food that they eat, okay, on a daily basis. I will take this out of the picture, this extra treats or food, whatever's going on, and you have to start here first, and then you can start to get into the issue of food in other places, okay? But again, it's going to be different anyway because you're going to approach it properly, okay? It's about still making sure you have a pivot point as you do that. But again, getting into just starting here and then beginning to frame this up properly so that they think differently about the food through me. Okay, each dog does, and then as you saw in one video with me with both leashes, okay, then both leashes, and then, treats or whatever I'm doing, it has to be the same thing. I have to speak the language of the method. You just can't let it free flow. You just can't let it go and say, well, we're going to work it out, or that looks kind of okay. You could have serious control issues going on, and it will look okay from the surface. This is why I really tell people, don't be deceived. Don't just lean on what you see. You have to look at, there's always truth. There always will be truth out there, even though it looks like it's on kind of the fringes because of the issues of how control sets up to offer a real fuzzy picture. You're not going to get good clarity. So, because again, this is why I say the method itself, it puts all the cards on the table. Okay, so for example, it's about what's reasonable. So you're going to see me in a minute. You're going to see me bring Codden out here first, and you're going to see how I'm doing the method. Okay, but again, how a dog thinks about the food. Okay, how that frames with me in the picture. Okay, you'll see how the mind of the dog is actually, reaching out in a way that doesn't represent being in a follow role. Because as I'm, bringing the dog into this method, okay, as I'm asserting influence, okay, you see me working off the sit position as I do this. You'll see how the dog responds to that, okay. They need to settle in. They have to come into agreement with that. But the dog has control issues, okay. If they're out here just eating on their own, both dogs or whatever, and then you go from that to working the leash this way, okay, and then it brings me into the picture with how I'm speaking the language of the method. Just watch the reaction of the dog. Okay? I guarantee you, if the dog has a lot of control issues going on with food, they're not going to like being put on the leash, being brought under leadership, and they're going to really offer up maybe a very unreasonable reaction. Okay, but I'll talk about that too. The unreasonableness of reaction. Okay, even though you might get a very unreasonable, high-level challenge coming off a dog, you have to ask yourself the question: is the level of influence or expectation I'm putting on that dog, is that reasonable? Okay, through this system, through this method, the answer almost always will be, if you're doing it right, will be yes. However, it doesn't mean that based off the level of control, the amount of control a dog's holding, it still doesn't mean I want an unreasonable reaction. Okay, I might reconcile that and say, well, okay, this makes sense, I'm doing everything right, the dog is just, I'm just going to work through this. Well, sometimes that's where you need to get the muzzle on, okay, because I still will get bit. I don't want to get bit, okay, so this is about doing it smart. So this is why back in the other videos you see me with the muzzles on, doing the food exercise. See, I'm laying the foundation, right? And then now I go to no muzzle, okay, and then start to just the same thing. So it's all about being very intentional so that the risk levels go way down. You don't want to, this is about doing it smart, okay? Again, in 20 years of handling dogs, I've only been bitten one time, and it wasn't even a dog I was handling. Okay, that's not a brag. Okay, I could get bitten today. Okay, I mean, it's like the human element. I could be not thinking right, or something could be going on. But the good news about this system is it really reduces the risk down to avoid that type of thing with getting bitten. Okay, because all the protocols, how this is done, is very intentional. And so, and at the same time, you're creating meaningful change. Okay, you're not, the picture itself is not a counterfeit. Okay, this is about doing it right, understanding how the motives of the dog work, how to clean everything up. But again, it's about doing it intentionally so that you're not going to have a bad outcome. So again, you'll see me now as I do this to explain. You're going to see, because I'm talking about this through right now, because as I'm doing it, I'm not going to be talking as much. I'll be focused. Okay, so kind of giving you the information now. And this is the other thing about understanding. A lot of people will say, well, Dad, you really talk this stuff out. Well, here's the thing. There's no sense doing something unless you know what you're doing. Again, I'll say that again. There's absolutely makes no sense to do something unless you understand why you're doing it. Okay, that's a core thing here. It makes sense. You come out here and be doing certain things, but then what's the end game here? What am I doing? And so, that's key. Okay, so this system is all about understanding, what the methods are doing to promote change, to bring you into the picture. Okay, it's very intentional. It makes sense as you you start to really understand what's going on. So anyway, again, I'm going to bring each dog out individually. What I'm going to be doing is very intentional with just stopping. Okay, I'm going to be stopping. I'm going to be doing the sit position. You see me doing that. And I'm going to be working off the sequence, the push on the bum, the push-pull, and the little tap-tap of the leash, just to get that inwardness, okay? So, again, I'm speaking language through the method. And so when I come out here, the dog, right away there'll be an awareness, okay? There's food, I want it, okay? But again, I have to stay focused on, no, I own the food, you'll get it through me, in a follower state, follower role. And that comes through watching how the dog's responding, taking your time. Don't walk forward. You do this exercise, just stop, really make sure the dog is really relaxed. Okay, really relax, tap the leash, take your time. Because if you move forward, the dog is starting to get more and more, starting to reach out with their mind more and more and fixated. That's not helpful, okay, because it's going to wash out. Take your time and wait till the dog you have a really good state of mind. Then move forward, a little baby step. See me move a baby step? Repeat the sequence. Push on the bum, push, pull, take your time. Get a really good, get the dog really relaxed, coming into agreement, and then move forward again. Now as I do this, you see the food dishes here, don't go from over here about 3 feet and just let the dog go. Okay, you want to get, really almost close in. I'm about 1 foot away here, and then do a final sit, okay, right on top of the food. A good push pull, a little tap tap, and this is a really good moment here because then I want a really good relaxed state before I give the okay. Okay, so have the dog, make sure the dog is, you'll see this on the video, dog sitting there, is okay, might be a little anxious, but is balanced out pretty good. And then I'll say okay, and I can say okay, and I'll just point towards the dish with my finger. I'm giving the okay. You can eat it, but it's my food, okay? But the other thing is, some trainers will, don't stick your hand in that food dish, okay? That could be a bad problem. That could be don't ever stick your hand in a food dish and start moving the food around like that with the dog. That can set things up to something bad happening, okay? Let the method, okay, do the work for you, okay? Let it speak the language, because this will work it out so that it's going to change what the dog thinks. Then I give the okay. Here's the other thing. When the dog starts eating the food, dogs that have control issues, it's as though the food's already in their stomach, so they're going to eat too fast. Okay, to slow that down, so to start to chew the food properly, you have to interrupt. Okay, just as the dog is starting to eat a little bit, put them back into a sit. Okay, you don't say sit, just put them into the sit. Tap the leash, push, pull, just calm them out for a second, and then re-engage. Okay, you want to do that maybe several times during the process, because then I'm speaking language saying, no. I own the food, you need to slow down, eat normally. Because again, what am I doing? It's control issue, so fade into the picture. So when I do that, again, on the leash enough, okay, over the next, say, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, then you can start to see the picture start, then what you're going to see is, wow, the dog is really, calming down. It's eating, eating normally. Everything's looking really good, both dogs, right? And then, at some point, I have both leashes. If I want to increase, I don't want to take me more time to do individual feeding, but then what do I do? It's like in the video, right? Both dogs, same thing, and then same thing, but now I get both dogs out here, and I'm having both on leashes. Or if I want to get real fancy, I could have a third dog, believe it or not, with 3 leashes going. But again, only when I've done enough work on as individuals to get them in a really good follower state. And then you'll see the pictures like, okay, wow, they're like really, at any time I should be able to say, hey, sit, and that dog should respond and stop eating. Okay, the verbal language, okay, the value of the commands will line up. Okay, that's where real value comes to. It's relational. It's what changing the perceptions of the dogs in this method. So, you're looking for benchmarks to know when to start to let them go and eat together. Okay, is how I'm perceived in that. How the dogs are starting to have the type of influence I'm having. So again, but I'm creating that through these various exercises. It's lining up, and eventually you can step away so that I don't have to have them on leashes anymore. But it's now totally different because I'm in control. They're not going to have issues with the food. Okay, they're going to eat normally. The stress loads are going to be off them, and it's going to work out just fine. So again, now I'm going to bring the dogs out again, just so you understand, you have the information. So you're going to see me do the same thing. He's walking around, setting this up.